I'm just getting warmed up. I'm going to bring the whole diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's got to be biblical.
Damn, nigga, no we don't get
Mike, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, and those ornaments are great, Ben. How do I get one?
Well, that's one to you. They do. They match your hair color. Look at your hair color and your forehead.
And my eyes.
Yes, that's perfect, Mike. We'll send you a whole pack for the Article 3 offices. Now, Mike, you were sometimes you were maybe the only booking that we could get on this program to talk about the criminalities of Joe Biden. And it's amazing the time that we've come from, because now there are people kicking down our doors to literally come on the show. But you were like one of the only people that we could book, sometimes the only guy, to come in and talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. Because no established Republican or credentialed lawyer wished to do so. So well done in being right, because over the past just less than 12 hours, the Biden crime family admitted all of their crimes and said that they needed the greatest pardon in presidential history in order to keep them out of jail for life. So well done. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ben. It's amazing. More than 10 years for every conceivable federal crime for Hunter Biden. So not only his foreign bribery schemes, the fact that the president of the United States could be compromised by tens of millions of dollars coming from our worst enemies, to what seems like every scumbag Biden, except for the 6-year-old granddaughter who they don't claim. If Hunter Biden trafficked kids and raped kids, he's off the hook under federal criminal law because of this pardon. This is disgusting what Joe Biden has done, but it's very fitting for this scumbag in the White House, Joe Biden, to pardon his son. And just wait, Ben, for the pardons for the rest of the Biden crime family, because again, James Comer, the House Oversight Chairman, has the bank records, $23 million going to what seems like every scummy Biden, right? So what did they do? What were the Bidens selling for $23 million? Because when I look at the Bidens, I wouldn't let them wash my car, let alone $23 million for what?
It's truly remarkable how many pardons are really going to have to roll off the printing press here. You got Keith Olbermann up this morning. I'm not sure if we still have it up, but here we go. Keith Olbermann up this morning saying that Joe Biden needs to get 10 million pardons out the door. Every staffer, every media figure, everybody who's ever worked for him, in a prima facie admission that the entire Washington, D.C. ecosystem is filled with criminals defrauding the American taxpayer.
Yeah, it's great that Keith Olbermann used his hour of computer time from when he's otherwise in a padded cell. They give him an hour on a computer, and this is the kind of crap that he sends out. I mean, it's perfectly fitting that the few nut jobs who come to Joe Biden's defense include Eric Holder and Keith Olbermann. Dude,
what is the deal with Eric Holder jumping up in the response to Jared Polis? I mean, I know that you have dear connections to the state of Colorado, and I don't know what your real take is on Jared Polis, but to his credit, he comes out, one of the first guys out the gate, and say, this is trash. This is garbage, what Joe Biden just did here. And I'm sure you agree with him on that. And then here's Eric Holder in the mentions being like, no, it's not, Governor. What's going on with Eric Holder, dude? Who pissed in his coffee?
Yeah, remember, Eric Holder is Obama's wingman. He was the OG for politicizing and weaponizing our Justice Department, including the FBI, to go after political enemies. And I think Eric Holder's, he's wetting his pants right now, because you have people like Pam Bondi going in as AG and Kash Patel, our man, going in as the FBI director. And maybe, just maybe, they're going to uncover this ongoing criminal conspiracy against Trump, his top aides like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, who went to prison, his supporters on January 6th, parents, Christians. There's a reckoning coming to the Justice Department, and maybe, just maybe, Eric Holder had his fingerprints on this.
Wow. So you think Eric Holder is now fighting for his life, maybe legally and politically, and because the dude doesn't post. And suddenly yesterday, there's like all these slew of posts from Eric Holder trying to explain this away. This seems like panic time, man.
Yeah, the best is when all these former federal prosecutors and Justice Department officials go out there and post on Twitter or wherever they're posting saying, oh, no, that I wouldn't have charged Hunter Biden for these gun crimes. They don't get charged. That's just complete nonsense. It's like 93% of people who get charged with these gun crimes go to prison, right? And Hunter Biden, they did everything they could to try to hide these crimes with David Weiss, the special counsel, handpicked by both Democrat senators. They covered up for the Bidens. They went after, when they got caught, when David Weiss got caught, they went after crimes against Hunter Biden that would not implicate Joe Biden, like FARA violations, foreign corruption, and went after these gun crimes, which are serious crimes. Let's talk about privilege. Let's talk about white privilege. Hunter Biden, if he were a black man, he would be in prison right now for these gun crimes. But because he's a privileged white guy, he's going to get a pardon. And it's insane that these woke DEI operatives in the Obama and Biden Justice Departments pretend like this is no big deal. He wouldn't have been charged if he weren't Hunter Biden. That's complete nonsense.
Via Joe Biden's own crack laws, Hunter Biden should be in prison for the rest of his life. 5 years, doesn't have a choice. Joe Biden signed that law, the Tough on Crime bill in 1992, 1994. Joe Biden was its author. So it's spitting in the face. Now, hundreds of thousands of black men got locked up in that law, and Joe Biden was right. Judge didn't have a choice. Minimum mandatory 5 years in prison.
Yeah.
And Hunter Biden gets to skate. And not only that, leave baggies of crack all over the White House.
Yeah, just maybe that's why black men voted for President Trump in record numbers this election. What did they get? I think President Trump got like 25+% of the black male vote. That's a huge number. And maybe, just maybe, they are sick of the weaponization of law enforcement against their political enemies. And they saw that happening to President Trump, just like it happens every day in their community. And you just pointed out Exhibit A, Ben, where Joe Biden, when he was the senator, he pushed a extremely harsh bill that if you had a quarter size amount of crack, you went to prison for 5 years, right? How much crack did Hunter Biden have? And then Joe Biden just pardoned him. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And I think, these black men who voted for Trump understand that we have a broken and corrupt justice system.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Donald Trump. So Donald Trump moving into the Oval, Donald Trump gets the chair, and now Donald Trump is in charge. Pam Bondi at Justice and Kash Patel at FBI. How would you advise them to move through these waters now that this pardon is out, and maybe we'll get more pardons for the Biden family? Can Joe Biden pardon himself? Because you went viral last week predicting this. Last week you said, hold on, if Joe Biden pardons Hunter, well, then he can't waive any type of immunity for any type of prosecution when he's testifying. He's gonna have to testify. There's no Fifth Amendment rights. And so, what happens next right here? And how would you actually, from my perspective, I would love to see criminal charges, Mike, but at the very least, I want to see truth and reconciliation, where the Justice Department and the FBI comes clean about what they've done to protect this family and say that here's how it will never happen again. What's next?
Yeah, I mean, I would say this. I would say to the House Republicans, you have subpoena power right now. This pardon, Hunter Biden was pardoned for every crime for the last almost 11 years. He can't claim his Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. So haul Hunter in before the House and make him explain this Biden family corruption. And this is not about Hunter's hookers and blow and guns. This is about the President of the United States, Joe Biden, being compromised by $23 million that they can find going to every Biden family member. What the hell were these corrupt foreign actors paying the Bidens to do? That means the President of the United States could be compromised, and House Republicans need to figure that out and do an intel assessment to figure out how our national security has been damaged. Joe Biden would not get a top secret security clearance, right, because of his foreign dealings. And he's the President of the United States. And we need to figure out what damage has been done to our country. What did Joe Biden do for Russia and China and Ukraine and Kazakhstan and all these other third world hellholes that the Bidens, from which the Bidens took money. What did Joe Biden do as president for that $23 million? Because they're not paying Joe Biden and Hunter Biden because Hunter Biden, is a crackhead who makes porn videos with his nieces. They paid him for something.
So you have a situation where this doesn't protect Joe, right? Like Hunter Biden could still testify against Joe Biden, or you could still bring the immunity ruling from the Supreme Court would not protect a Joe Biden in 2014 doing dirty deals in Ukraine.
Well, I mean, it presumably not. If he's doing it in his purely personal capacity, presidential immunity applies to the president. It's undecided whether it applies to the vice president for his official acts. But I would say this: remember, if now that Hunter's pardoned, you haul him in to testify, and if he refuses, you hold him in contempt of Congress, and then Pam Bondi and Kash Patel prosecute him starting in January of this year if he refuses to testify. So let's get to the bottom of this. Let's figure out how the president of the United States is compromised so this never happens again. This is, again, so much bigger than Hunter Biden smoking crack and making porn videos and being a creep with his nieces. This is about the national security of the United States.
So something that you've been obviously on the trail of is January 6 pardons and righting the wrongs there at January 6th. Now, of course, maybe you can never actually right the wrongs, but everything from restitution from the Justice Department to a pardon on day one with President Trump. How would you advise Donald Trump to approach this? And as of noting that we kicked off the show with Donald Trump's initial response saying, wait a second, what about all the January 6th political prisoners? This was Trump's reflex reaction. So it does seem to us as though Trump is gearing up for something big with January 6th.
After this Hunter Biden pardon, I used to say this, that Trump should pardon almost all January 6th defendants except for the ones who were violent and then commute their sentences, because nothing that happened on January 6th calls for a 22-year prison sentence, especially when the Biden Justice Department let BLM and Antifa and Hamas rioters cause a hell of a lot more death and destruction than what happened on January 6th. But after Hunter Biden's pardon, I say pardon them all. If you're gonna pardon Hunter Biden for the last nearly 11 years with potentially raping kids and selling out our national security, I don't want to hear a damn thing from Joe Biden or Democrats about the rule of law. They can go to hell. Pardon all these January 6 defendants.
And Donald Trump would need some tough backing in order to get that done. He's going to have people watch his six and hold the side up. The Article 3 project is going in hard to advocate for Kash Patel. I've been seeing your work all weekend. Mike, you've been doing great work. Obviously, Kash is a friend of our show, and we thoroughly endorse this decision for FBI director. Where do we stand right now in the Kash Patel nomination? What will happen to senators who voted for Merrick Garland and danced for Chris Wray, but then would dare vote against Kash Patel?
It's not going to happen. And I would say this to these 53 Senate Republicans. I want you to remember this, that your job as a senator is to vote to confirm President Trump's qualified cabinet picks along with other senior executive branch appointees. The president doesn't get to pick your Senate staff and you don't get to pick his, right? You need to make sure that these nominees are qualified. Kash Patel is clearly qualified. He has been a public defender, a national security prosecutor. He got awards from the Obama Justice Department for his national security prosecution. He was a top official in the House Intel Committee. He was a top official on the White House National Security Council. He was a top official in the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. He was the Chief of Staff in the Department of Defense. He is a competent loyalist who's going to go in to the FBI on behalf of President Trump, who got a mandate for change from the American people, all seven swing states, 312 electoral votes, to bring serious reforms, bold reforms to the FBI. Kash is the man to do that. He is qualified. You need to vote to confirm all qualified executive branch top officials, including Kash, unless you can point to clear and convincing evidence that they're disqualified because of their personal misconduct. You're not going to be able to do that with Kash. We don't have a Me Too presumption of guilt with any of these picks, including Pete Hegseth. So if you think that he's done something wrong, come forward with clear and convincing evidence. We don't have Christine Blasey Ford nonsense. We don't have the presumption of guilt. We got rid of that with Kavanaugh. You're welcome, America, from Mike Davis. And we're not going to play these games. And so if these picks are qualified, Senate Republicans must vote to confirm it. I'm going to tell your audience, go to article3project.org, article number 3project.org, and take action. One of the key action items is to confirm Kash to the FBI. Light up both of your home state senators, call their offices, light them up on social media, send them emails, let them know. Look, Kash just signed up for X yesterday. He already has almost 600,000 followers. That tells you what kind of a groundswell of support Kash Patel has. And so I hope these 53 Senate Republicans understand that this is a red line. If they don't vote to confirm this highly qualified FBI director nominee, they're going to face the political wrath of the Article 3 project.
I just can't imagine why anyone would consider voting not only against President Trump and their constituency who delivered them the majority, but also against the will of the American people. I've never seen a groundswell like this with Kash. Bro, like you're very online, just like I am. This is probably the most popular pick that Donald Trump has appointed in his administration for obvious reasons. But you are actively voting against the most powerful movement in my lifetime in America if you are a Republican and you decide to vote against Kash Patel.
Yeah, I don't think that Senate Republicans have a political death wish, meaning that I don't think that they want to get primaried or just have Republicans sit at home and so they lose, or we just make your political lives living hell. So don't even think about it. He's qualified unless, again, here's the standard. This is a qualified senior executive branch political appointee for the president. His party better vote for this pick unless they can point to clear and convincing evidence that pick is disqualified from personal misconduct. They're not going to be able to do that with Kash. He's had top secret SCI, SAP, the highest security clearances in the past. There aren't skeletons in Kash's closet. So let's move forward so President Trump can move forward with his electoral mandates and reform the Justice Department with Pam Bondi, including the FBI with Kash Patel.
And just really quickly here, Mike, in closing, I believe it would be very good for the American people, even if it doesn't lead to charges, for someone like a Kash Patel to say, here's all the evidence we actually have on the Bidens. Here's the available crimes that are here on the laptop. Here's, like, to have someone with an official, I know Marco Polo has done great work on this, but to have it done from a Justice Department dais with an FBI seal, and you have them say, this is what they did. And it should never happen again. I would be so very much in favor of that, along with the Epstein list, the Diddy list, and so on. I think the American public needs it.
I think you're getting a little bit soft, Ben, because you just want to do a report. I actually want to round these people up under 18 USC Section 241, conspiracy against rights, and throw them in prison.
Well, here, we have Christmas coming up, right? And this could be the present wrapped right under the tree.
You could keep your ornament. I want people to go to prison.
You won't get a better endorsement than that.
Yes.
Maybe we could have both. You think about it. It's America's golden era. And Mike Davis is a man who helped make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. Head on over and follow Mike Davis. 315,000 Americans. Can't be wrong. Look at this. The man in the arena who's been fighting. Godspeed, Mike.
Thank you, Ben.